Sexual instinct, zone 2, attraction, repulsion. My experience. So we'll start with mm, the insecurities, and then we'll go to the confidence. So different realms. At one time in life, might have felt insecure, and then I've become confident in them. Hmm. And in certain areas, just feel like perpetual insecurities, in my experience. So the obvious, yeah, the we'll talk about the fear, and the kind of self talk is that I'm disgusting, and this is kind of complex. So I'll do my best to illustrate that. I haven't ever spoken to it to its full nuance, but attraction is physical, it's behavioral, it's auditory. Talking like this, yeah, blah, 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 versus talking like this and blah, 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 and this comes off way differently. This is much more attractive than this if I'm talking like this to most people. This low voice gets more respect from men, more desirability from women. That's my orientation toward it. Toward all attraction, actually. Being more attractive is an effective social strategy. That's how I see it as a social last. Sexual type. So, being seen as disgusting or like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's the fear. Ooh, and like I can imagine it. I imagine it. I've imagined it so many times. Like a certain type of face, certain type of energy. It basically never happens, but it did in my childhood, or I remember it happening, or I perceived that happening from like teachers, especially um, girls in middle school, high school that I thought were attractive. Yeah, it's like the pointing and laughing, and this is also six, so this is specifically sexual six, like pointing and laughing and being humiliated, and the importance of that is that I'm disgusting. If I'm disgusting, I'm that's worse than being unworthy. Like that's the same thing as being unworthy, but it goes deeper. Like unworthy doesn't have too much of a charge for me, but what gets really personal is like disgusting. Like oh, um, yeah, like I am absolutely completely worthless if I'm disgusting, but like lower than worthless, like in the negative, not just the zero, in the negative. Like why the fuck am I even existing? I'm the only mistake on earth and the biggest mistake in the creation, That's like that's my best attempt at describing the kind of tone of the belief when it happens, and that's in my belly. What else? So yeah, that applies to like being social last too. That applies to not this sense of not knowing what to do socially. Like other people are part of a network and they learned that and I didn't learn it. And I have my personal life stories from growing up on how I didn't learn it and others did that corroborate this belief, but my understanding is that this belief would have been there anyway, and would have my mind would have found other evidence in my life story to corroborate it. So this, what the fuck are you doing? You don't get it. Like, you're not one of us. That sort of thing. And specifically women, like mainly women. I care a lot less in my imagination of men doing that, but women have a big pull. I'm heterosexual, by the way. Yeah, so yeah, and the other sort of on the negative end of the spectrum with this second zone, the sexual instinct, attraction, repulsion, is like control over checking myself. I look in the mirror a lot, and sometimes like it really won't feel good. I'll look and it's like this ugh, like not necessarily that I'm disgusted by myself, though that can happen. It's not disgust when I look in the mirror, but it's like ugh, I just like don't live up. I just don't live up to what I want to be. I just don't like ugh. I'm just not, and it's unchangeable stuff. Whatever bags under my eyes, like it's like oh, you're just not enough. But I'm like mature enough that I'm not gonna like go into being super strict on my sleep, like I used to be to control the bags under my eyes or something. And it works, and I sacrificed a lot for that, and I'm just not like I'm mature enough that I'm willing to like let things go, and not go into the behaviors that my insecurities could create in certain ways. But yeah, I'm just not living up to it. That's my and looking in the mirror too. It's just like I look in the mirror too much, and it just feels bad to be so like the world. The reality is expansive, and for me to make my meaning out something so small and so purely physical, that's what gives me like a sickening feeling sometimes. It's just like such a putting so much of life into one little thing, and it's all surface level. And I also know it doesn't matter that much for attraction. Like I could be putting my energy toward bigger realms of my expression to be more attractive, and also bigger realms of my expression that could help me socially more, which is more worth my energy. So it's this control that my mustache hairs keep going up. It's like I want to like push them down. Um, my one of my socks is more scrunched than the other. Like when I was a kid, I used to be very OCD about certain things, and very compulsive regarding like my person, and things are even and all that, and picking the right outfit, and yeah, and like how's my hair parted, and is there's a weird tuft here. I used to go crazy as a kid, take so long, and like be so frustrated and insecure about some if there was something like that I couldn't manage. So that's very very upsetting and frustrating sometimes. And it's not a big deal. Like I'm not run by these things anymore, but I'm just aware of how much energy is going toward them. Like I have a mind that can do a lot of things, and like when 50% of my mind is on like this little tuft of hair, it's such a waste of energy. It's not a waste. It's just that there's like it's important to me, and I'm okay with it being. I'm cool with it being important to me. I'm in line with my attraction desire. Like I I'm in the flow of that. I don't resist that, and there's more to life. Okay, so on the positive end of that, oh, I'll give one more example, which is actually both about the confidence and about insecurity. Like walking out of the grocery store today, and just like I had these shoes on, this ridiculously long shirt. It like almost touches my knees. It's a different kind of style, and I find it stylish. And it's like a this is the thing. There's a fine line in my experience between like my my peak attraction strategy for like say my outfit or my fashion, and when I go too far, it's like ooh, attraction, attractive, 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 and then like disgusting, like ugh, too much. Totally fucked it up. It's like when you put yourself out there. When I put myself out there, I have the potential to be at a very high level of attractiveness in my own opinion. Like obviously it's just subjective, but in my sense of it, I can be at a very high level of attractiveness, but largely because I'm putting myself out there, because I'm choosing to dress big, I'm choosing to show up big, you know. And if that tips over just a little too much past that peak, it's like there's a it quickly goes into unattractive in the worst way. like like ugh, you know. So that's sexual instinct too. Like dominant sexual is this it is almost like disgusting to some people. Um, and it's rich, like playing with that, like walking out of the grocery store and just aware of like how I look. Also like questioning how I look though. It's like because I'm growing into my sexual instinct more. As a six, I had a lot of like super ego stuff that I've been unlearning, let's say, energetically, about restraining my sexual instinct back. Also, because of my background, there was some real suppression of my expressivity, and don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, I just it's like it's like a task. I'm present with like owning and embodying and occupying my full body and full outfit and full energy that I can and feels good to be in. Um, and like not caving, not caving into questioning myself, not caving into the questioning myself. Because ultimately, the attraction with sexual instinct for me is it's not about whether it's actually like objectively who finds me attractive. It's not about like I'm not actually concerned with how accurate my sense of my own attractiveness is. It's like this beautiful confidence that is self speaks for itself. Confidence in my own attractiveness, and that confidence is attractive, and is actually like more. It's an interesting circular thing. Attraction's that's mysterious. Like sexiness is mysterious, attractiveness is mysterious, for me, like experiencing it. And like having this sexual dominant instinct is, it's very hard to describe in this way because it's self-validating. It's like it just feels good. It just feels in alignment to let this energy occupy me and like be big. And of course, it appears narcissistic. Uh, it can, very much so. And it's also fully innocent. Like it's not a choice. Like this is actually what feels good. It feels good to move my body in like really absurdly confident postures. You know, like Conor McGregor. That feels good to have posture like Conor McGregor to dress. I'm dressing for myself. Like I got clear with that. Like I'm dressing for myself. I don't need to know whether people find me attractive or not. I have no fucking idea. Maybe that's a social thing, and I'm social last. Like I have no fucking idea. I don't have to know. I can tell what's attractive, and it's to me. So there's that sense. Okay, so yeah, it's sort of like I'm making my own package. It's not for you, but like if you like my flavor, then come on. Um, and I'm gonna like my flavor, whether you like it or not. And I actually have a belief that I'll like my flavor so much that even if you don't like my flavor, if we get closer, uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna infect you. I'm gonna infect you with the likability of my flavor. And I have this sort of deep belief like no one can resist that. That's my sense. The confidence is so deep. But at the same time, that's the deep insecurity of being disgusting is right there too. I don't know how that works mechanically, but it's right there too. Um, and I'll just move on from that, you know. So yeah, that kind of spoke to the confidence too, the positive aspects of zone two. Yeah, so if I'm willing to have the discipline and put in the energy, there's many aspects of myself that I feel I have the total internal technology to be in tune with and adjust the way I speak. So I'm speaking slower now to have a different impact. Facial expressions, the speed at which I go and pick up a cup, right? There's a sense in the sexual instinct of all of these. There's a sense of like the juice and the energy of slowness and how alluring that is beyond like sexual intimacy. Just as humans, like there's a humanness to the energy of a body that I assume sexual types in general are intimately in touch with. If they develop that, it can be developed because it depends on the sexual energy, the life force energy in the body, which sexual types have access to more readily. So it's also like, yeah, there's got to be a reason to do it though. Like, if I was around a lot of like in college, say, I was doing psychedelics and like really in touch with this life force energy and like energetics in general, really waking up to it and just being social and wanting to be attractive to women. And I went really, I've developed a lot, like all these different ways of curating myself to be attractive and likable, because it was for social reasons too, just to be likable. So it's like, yeah, pace, tone, word choice, the way I walk. I developed my way of walking that I walk now, my kind of pace that I have now. Um, yeah, different facial expressions. So there's like a beauty in this. It's an art. It's like you become an art form. Your own body and your own expression become an art form as sexual dominant. If you want to develop that, and there's a confidence in that, and so like with with like dancing too. Um, I can tap into what the energy wants to do, and I'm confident dancing because I have my own compass. I have my compass of the life force, and I can tell what looks good. I can tell what's aesthetic, and so there's just like a confidence there. Yeah, it feels complete. So that's zone two: attraction, repulsion. Is there something else? I was just one last thing I'll say is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm and like, yeah, vitality and enthusiasm that can trigger people, and it can be attractive to people, and both feel fine as long as the focus is on me and being in my own juice. Yeah, so that's zone two: attraction, repulsion. Next will be zone three. Russ Hudson calls it fusion, consummation. It's locking in with an object and sustaining that focus, that merging, that fusion.